So we were together about 24 hours ago, many of you. So glad to be back. Welcome, Larissa. If anybody is new to me, please say hello if you care to, or new to Insight Timer or live streams. We'll just give a few minutes before we dive in. Hi, EJ. Hi, Sarah. So if you are new, I'm curious if you're joining randomly, if you're joining because of me, or you're joining because of the topic, or all of the above. Yeah. Oh, and also I noticed right before I came on, I am 2 followers away from 3,500, which is a milestone. So who's going to be 3,500? I'm sure we'll pass that today. So celebrating that, thanking everybody if you're follower 1, 100, 1,000. Really grateful for Insight Timer, for all of you. So yeah, give me a follow if you don't. If you care to give a donation, if this space is valuable, always welcomed. You can hear my meditations. I have some free and premium tracks. And since we are here to talk about money, finances, wealth, abundance, if you are a premium member, make sure to check out my comprehensive abundance prayer. That is a ancestral clearing prayer. Ancestral clearing is a practice that I do as part of my energy healing side of things. Many of you have experienced that. Most of you, when I do the Reiki sessions, when I do Reiki in the sessions, I always bring in the ancestral clearing. And then also, there's deeper ways to do that one-on-one. And also we've done live streams specifically on interactive ancestral clearing. So people have reported amazing shifts doing that in many different ways. So that is there. And I do have a free ancestral clearing track. It's called the Master Prayer on the free section of my meditations. So if you are new to me, I'm Natalie. I'm a spiritual life coach and Reiki Master Teacher and intuitive. I read cards, as you all well know, which is always fun. Actually, I wanted to draw a couple as we go into the topic for today. So, and what we will be doing is talking about, money, finances, from the lens that they're not where you want them to be, because that is such a common problem. How many of you have had struggles with money in your life, and besides me? How many of you has that been a major issue? How many of you have had, struggles for years thinking that, you don't earn enough, you can't earn enough, always worrying where money's going to come from. Just all of that shit. Britt, yes. I am with you there. So we're going to dive a bit into that. And then we're going to look at, where it came from a bit, what it's been like, and then where do you want to go from here? And that there is a solution. So what I want to draw cards about is kind of like a card for what it's like now, or what's the problem, that sort of an energy of like what's informing that. And then like what's possible, and if you choose to make changes, where you're going, because that will be helpful. Hi, Duchess. So, and many of you know, I've been announcing it for a while now. I do have a group program starting June 1st, which is coming up quite soon, on creating abundance in your life and creating tangible results and transformations in your life around this area. So we're going to be using the book called Overcoming Underearning, and that's where a lot of these principles come from, to overcome underearning. So I have 3 spots left in the group. So if you want to be considered for that, vibe into that, feel into that. If you've already heard me talk about it and you're like, maybe on the fence, reach out. Let's have a conversation and get you to either yes or no. So that's what's happening. And let's go ahead and dive in a bit. So I'm going to use Osho Zen Tarot. And this is a card for everyone here, or if you're seeing my live replay. So I do have all my live replays available, on social. Please follow me there as well. Connect with me there. You can join my group, Natalie's Healing Circle, here in Insight Timer. So let's see. Awesome, Stephanie. Glad to have you again. So you had an intention and you like made a commitment and you followed through. Like, that's really big. So isn't this interesting? So this is the card about like where you're coming from. We just got this yesterday, right? Like, isn't that interesting? So in light of like the purpose of why I'm drawing these cards, what I feel this is saying is like, it doesn't matter about the past. It doesn't matter about whatever stories you have about why you haven't created abundance, or why you feel a victim to, being poor or never having enough. It doesn't matter where you're coming from. It's not important, because at the end of the day, if you want to choose to create wealth and abundance, you will. So the best way that you can support yourself in this is to come from nothing, which this sort of even ties into the message from yesterday with the cards. So if this is like resonating for you, check out the replay from yesterday, which was my Saturday Night Live, which is not up yet, but will be up maybe tomorrow. And if you're really like, you're like, oh my God, I have to see that message, send me a private message. I'll get it to you ASAP. So the thing is that, yeah, although my question to the cards was like, kind of what's informing all of this and where you're coming from, the cards are like, nah, we're not going there, baby. They're like, no. Do y'all feel that? These, the spirit that comes through here, it's tough love, and I love that. So it's like, no, we're not going to buy into the stories. We're not going to look back. I mean, we're going to look back to acknowledge, but we're not going to stay there, and we're not going to use that as a place to come from. We're going to come from nothing. We're going to come from empty space. We're going to come, because nothing is everything and nothing is possibility. Hola, Mark. Hi, Friendly Paws. You changed your pick. So glad to see you. Yeah. I mean, and thank you for your honesty there. And it's not about, and we say this all the time, it's not about saying what happened in the past or in childhood was okay, or, condoning, or, saying, oh, well, no, let's just whitewash over that. No, we're not saying that. We're not saying there wasn't trauma, abuse, pain, suffering, situations and circumstances that have affected people and the trajectory of their lives. And also, what are you going to do about it now? Because all of us here, we are capable adults, functioning adults that have the power to create our own reality and to choose that. And I and the cards and spirit are not going to hold you small in believing those stories that it's not possible for you because XYZ happened. No. This is really big in my field right now with myself and others. I was just talking about it yesterday with a friend of like, if one person in the history of humanity has overcome, your set of circumstances, it's possible for you. And anything else is just an excuse. And if you're not ready, that's okay. But just own that. And be compassionate and all of that. And for those that are ready to be in the solution, then let's do this. I come from a 12-step background, 25 years sober, in AA, started. It's really the same thing with the mindsets, and then with this structure of, what we're up to here, even around the money and with everything, because it's like we become addicted to the story, or the ego, that part becomes addicted to the stories, addicted to the thoughts, addicted to the struggle. And at the end of the day, there's got to be something inside of you that's just like, no more. And nobody is doing this but me. Nobody's coming to save me. And also the dichotomy of, and I don't have to do it alone. Nobody can do this for you, and you don't have to do it alone. So in the realms of money and finances and the relationship with that and changing your financial life, it really, like, the more I'm preparing for this course and diving into the material and creating it, I just like it's really deeply occurring to me in a way that didn't happen before, of like, this is going to require you changing everything. So, come from nothing. Now let's see. Okay, and then at the bottom of the deck, when you come from, because nothing is everything, if we think about quantum physics. Nothing is everything, and within that is abundance. It just, the nature of it is abundant. The intrinsic nature of the cosmos is this. So, it might look like this, but really it's this. Okay, woo, it popped out. So this is advice for you to have courage. That's what I'm saying. It's going to take courage. It's going to take courage and commitment for you to do the uncomfortable. And it's going to be uncomfortable. And I've said this before. The number one requirement for you to create, for anything, and also in the lens, in the realm of changing your financial life and creating abundance in your bank account, is the willingness to be uncomfortable. And it's like when it's out there in the future, and it's like, oh yeah, I'm willing to be uncomfortable, sure. And then it's like, oh wait, but that means I have to do that? Oh my God. That's the moment Oh, but I didn't know you were going to say that, or I didn't know it was going to be that thing. I just posted on my story, like, becoming ready is not about a feeling, it's about a decision or a choice. So it takes courage. And even the thing I was saying about, like, the where you're coming from, this beautiful little humble daisy is coming from a bed of rock. It has come up from rock. So this humble daisy is super fucking powerful, and so are you. So you have this within you. Go beyond the illusion that you're small. And in that Marianne Williamson quote from yesterday, your playing small doesn't serve the world. When you up-level your financial life, it affects everybody around you. A really powerful exercise to do is look at, okay, whatever your financial goal is, write it down, and then write down all of the benefits to other people you reaching your financial goals will bring. Think about that for a minute. If you have a money goal, I want X amount of money per year in my bank account, blah, blah, blah. I want to make it by the next blank years or months. Or I want to have a dream home in Hawaii, whatever. What are the benefits to other people when you achieve that? The thing is, this it's a way of life that gets to be your new normal. Just like when I got sober, I drank every day. I smoked pot every minute. I had been in jail, my life was a shit show. Y'all know that. When I got sober, everything had to change. Everything. And it was a very difficult process. And then eventually it became my new normal. This is the same with your financial life. Everything is going to have to change. There will be a period of being uncomfortable for a while. It's not going to be forever. Like for me, I craved alcohol for 30 days. It gnawed at me like every day. Like I still remember that 25 years later. I'm not craving alcohol now. The cravings went away. In AA, we say it's like white knuckling it, like just holding on and doing, the next right thing. So around changing your financial life, overcoming under-earning, getting out of debt, creating, new streams of income, new opportunities and possibilities in your financial life, actually having a cushion in your account, actually having savings, actually having investments. It's going to take a period of being uncomfortable for a while until it becomes your new normal. It's a way of life. So let's get deeper into that. So I'm going to read, and I've read this before, and it's really powerful. So, well, let me think. Okay, yeah, that's what I'm going to do now. Okay. So I want you to take in this list. I'm going to read you. And you don't have to count it up. If you want to, you can. But I want you to think about how many of these things can you relate to. And it might be uncomfortable. And if it's your reality, it's about facing reality as it is right now. Because the awareness, as I always say, you can't go anywhere without awareness. So to have the awareness of where you're at now is part of the foundation for change. Getting honest about that. So, which of these can you relate to? And if somebody even wants to type them out or something, or if you want to do that in the comments, you can. You don't have to. It might be helpful for some. Deep down, I believe that someone and or something will rescue me. Deep down, I believe that someone and or something will rescue me. How many have that feeling? And that's what I said earlier about nobody can do this for you and nobody's coming to save you. But you don't have to do it alone. Awesome. Hi, Lady Peacock. Number 2, someone else handles all my financial decisions. Someone else handles all my financial decisions. And then that would definitely be like, well, I don't even know what's going on. 3, I rarely balance my checkbook or whatever that is for you nowadays. I rarely balance my bank account. Yep. Me too, Duchess. I forget to record checks I've written or in the balancing of your accounts, however you do that nowadays. I forget to record, outgoings. I don't know the total amount of my debt. I don't know the total amount of my debt. Creditors keep calling me. I use credit cards for cash advances at the ATM. I don't have a savings account. I've only paid the monthly minimum credit card payments. I can't even afford monthly payments. I was recently turned down for a credit or a loan. I have less than 2 months living expenses in the bank. I routinely spend more than I earn. If I lost my job, I'd have difficulty paying next month's bills. How is everybody feeling as I'm reading this? Check in with your nervous system. Now, some of you, it might be like, no, great, amazing, kudos. Yeah, and some of you are having emotions come up, so thank you for your honesty, Britt. Interesting friendly pause. So it's a combo of the inner work and the outer work. So if on the outer everything looks on par, then perhaps it's something also with the inner work. And also taking uncomfortable actions out of your comfort zone to create more income. Katya, intense. I'm feeling it a bit as well. That's why I paused. So part of this whole like healing, overcoming these old patterns is about also the nervous system work, because money is just a piece of paper. It's just a number. I mean, now it's like, it's just a number on the internet in your bank account. Like, right? It's so nebulous. So it's not even about money. It's about all of the ideas and beliefs and energies that it's a symbol that holds all of this stuff. And it's not just individual, it's collective. It's totally collective, ancestral, familial. So, hi Jamie. Let's just be. Just take a breath. So without like having one-on-one conversations with Friendly Paws and Katya and anyone else who feels like, oh, they should be more far along, they're being responsible, so what's the problem? You know, I can't guide you specifically, but generally I would say that then it's about not taking the uncomfortable actions out of your comfort zone to create more abundance in your life. If you feel like, oh, well, I don't have debt, or oh, but you're not in a surplus and you're not in abundance, then that's the call for you to get out of your comfort zone. And then it might be, well, I don't know what actions to take. And I mean, that's what the program that I'm leading is we're gonna dive into all that as well, right? So that's what I would say there. Hi, Blossom Violet. So let's continue. We're almost through with the list. It's called the Problem Indicator Checklist. And these are all outer problems. So this is a journey of the inner work and the outer work. These problems are all on the outside, right? So this is what I said earlier in response to Friendly Paws' comment. And then I said, okay, well then there's also the inner side. So this is all outer stuff. Next one, I don't know my net worth. I worry about money a lot. That one I raise my hand to, and I recognize, for me personally, that's definitely childhood. 100%. When I was a kid, my parents fought about money all the time, and that was the only thing they ever fought about. But it was like all the time, and there was never enough. And I was a really like happy-go-lucky, well-adjusted, you know, super great kid. Like, I was a being of light. I still am. But this was such a huge stress for me. And my biggest worry was my parents were going to get a divorce about money. So from that young of an age, there's been this worry energy about money. And again, like I said earlier, it's not about making excuses for myself now. It's just, a recognition of where this comes from. And also, you know, there's so many tools, if y'all can relate to having specific experiences or dynamics, you know, inner child work, hypnotherapy, you know, EMDR, like all of these wonderful tools we have so we can go back and heal. Even the ancestral clearing, that can, if the session goes in that way, we go there. So I have trouble paying my rent or house payments on time. I put off seeking medical attention because I can't afford it. I dip into savings and investments to pay bills. I take out new loans before my old ones are paid off. I have back taxes I've never paid. So as I said earlier, are you willing to be, so if you feel uncomfortable, as, you know, people have said, when you hear this, it's good information. It's showing you what's ready to be healed. It's showing you what's available for healing, what's available for breakthrough, what's available for transformation. If you hear this list and you're like, oh my God, you know, all of that's like a breakdown, like in breakdown energy. Well, with every breakdown within that intrinsically is a breakthrough. And it takes you making the choice to commit to overcome yourself, overcome your circumstances, and make that decision. So, okay. I'm just looking at my notes for a minute, being like, we'll just pause for a minute and invite anybody that's come in since the beginning. Welcome. I'm Natalie. I'm glad you're here. Give me a follow here on Insight Timer, on my socials. I'm everywhere. I have these replays all available on my channel on YouTube. If you enjoy this, if it's beneficial, give a donation if you feel called to. And, you know, if this is resonating, if you're ready to transform, then join me. I will be on the journey with you in this program starting June 1st for 8 weeks. And I've got 3 spots left. So if you want to be considered for one of them, reach out. The thing that happens, and can any of you relate to having this mindset about your money, your finances, your financial life, that it's something that's happening to you that you don't really have any control over changing? Can any of you relate to that? That subtle energy of, oh, well, like all of the power is outside of you in regards to this. I know that I had that. I didn't even know I had that. It was so deeply ingrained. I wasn't even aware it existed until I began doing this deeper work. It's felt like up until now that it's something that's happening to me that I have no control over. And that is not the case. It's that same old thing. If it's gotta be, it's up to me. Hi, Jessica. Welcome, welcome. So if you are curious about the Money Mindset program, send me a private message. And as I said, I have 3 spots left. I'm willing to consider, depending on, whatever, like as I feel into it and see the response that I get over the next days and until the program's filled, to offer another scholarship. So if you would like to be considered for that, for the program, send a message. And send a message regardless if it calls to you. So Jamie says around medical bills. Yeah, I hear that. So we get to have this shift, and it goes back to number 1 on that checklist. Deep down, I feel someone or something will rescue me. I have definitely had that in like, well, if things got really bad, I know I could ask XYZ for help. Like that's it's felt like a lifeboat. Like I know barring anything, or I have this credit card with this on like limit and this much open. Or can any of you relate to that? Or oh, well, I know I'm going to get an inheritance, at some point, whenever, whoever passes on. So I know I'll be okay then. And I'm just, there's like this very subtle, like waiting for that. So the defining truth is, we are the ones we've been waiting for. Nobody can do this but ourselves. Nobody's doing this to me. And that's the good news. No one is doing this to you. Me, you. No one is doing this to you. So that means you have the ability to change it. Does that really land for those of you who this whole conversation you can relate to? Because as I said, there's this like energy of it's happening to me and it's just the way it is and it's always been this way and I can't do anything about it. It's impossible to change. Awesome, friendly pause, giving up crutches and relying on yourself being freeing. Yeah. And Jamie, thank you for your honesty. I mean, it's like, I mean, my ego has a bit of a burning, like, oh, it hits that when I consider that I also have had and still can have that when I get into fear, waiting for something or someone. Do you see this is all giving your power away? So if nothing changes, are you willing to re-experience the past? Let's say 6 months from now, you haven't changed anything, or a year or 5 years. And nothing's changed. You haven't made any changes and you're continuing to get the same results in your life. You're going to re-experience the past. Are you okay with that? And some of you may not be ready, and it's okay. It's not a judgment. As I say with like my coaching clients, it's like, okay, well, at least just give yourself the gift of honesty that you're choosing not to change or do anything about this right now. Or you're choosing to continue in, the old pattern. It might be like, oh, I want to quit smoking, but then you continue smoking even though you say you don't want to. It's like, okay, well, at least stop saying I'm going to quit tomorrow. I want to quit. And then you're just smoking and judging yourself for it. At least be like, okay, I am going to get in alignment that I'm consciously choosing to continue smoking right now, and that is what I'm doing. And I'm going to do my best to let go of the judgment that I'm doing that. Do you see that? It's empowering. So it's the same with finances as well, in your relationship with money, scarcity, lack, abundance, and yourself. So if you choose to not make any changes, if you can resonate with, what we're saying here, and if you choose to not change, it's okay. Just know that it's a choice you're making, which is good news, because then whenever you choose, you can make a different choice, and it's not going to be easy, and it's going to be worth it. And if not now, when? That's one of my favorite questions. If you're hearing this and you can relate and you're you have like energetic response in your body around all this, or thoughts, and it's hitting. If not now, when? How much longer do you want to keep re-experiencing the past of never feeling like you have enough money, or never having enough, feeling stuck and trapped in your job, and that there's no other options, putting your dreams on hold? Wishing you could have freedom to, take a trip, come see me in Bali, and then that disappointment of, oh, but I don't have enough money. So it comes down to a question of commitment and making this personal internal commitment and decision. And in 12 step, it's step 3. We've made a decision to turn our will and lives over to the care of higher power. That's what drives everything, is this decision, this personal internal commitment. There needs to be a click that happens inside of you. Like, I'm doing this. It's not about how. I say this a lot. It's not about how do I do it. You'll figure it out. It's not about how. If your mind's like, but I don't know how, and it doesn't matter. It's about want to. It's not about how to. And if you're stuck in how to, then you don't want to enough. And again, that's okay. And nobody, that's got to come from within. Just like an alcoholic or a drug addict, when they finally make that decision, and sometimes, well, not sometimes, often people die in their addiction before they get there, but those of us, me being one, who are lucky enough to have made that choice, there is always a choice. You've got to hit a bottom with this stuff. Have you had enough? Are you done? If you think about your finances, are you done with the way it's been? Good insight, Duchess. That you don't get to have money or your needs met easily. Would you say, if you think about your childhood, is there some kind of dynamic that from there that might stem from? And I don't know for you, but for me, when I read that, what that reminds me of is I had, it's part of this journey with the finances, this insight that I didn't feel like I deserved to have a lot of money. And I had a memory of, multiple ones, of being in the grocery store as a kid and always wanting to go down the toy aisle. And like most of the time my mom would say no. In the rare times we would, of course, like, oh, I want this, I want that. And it's like, no, you can't have anything. And it wasn't that, like, because, kids aren't going to get every single thing they want. It was about the energy in which that was spoken and communicated. And it wasn't done consciously, and it's not about blaming. It's just again, like, okay, that's where that came from. I had this limiting belief, this subconscious program that came from there that was like, I don't deserve to have a lot of money. I don't deserve nice things, or I don't deserve to have things. It's for others, it's not for me. Hi, Rose, welcome back. So there gets to be a point in which you make this personal internal decision and commitment. Living in scarcity and lack and under-earning is no longer an option. When you make that choice, that puts the power back on you, where it's not happening to you. One of my favorite affirmations, I've said this often recently, it's time to make more money. That's such a powerful statement. Because that flips the energy and puts our mindset into, I am going to do this and I am going to create this. And it's going to require a recreation of yourself. Because whoever you are at this moment has created every single result you've had in your life up until now. And again, if you're satisfied with your results, then keep them and keep doing what you're doing. If you're not satisfied, if this is hitting, if I'm speaking to you and you know that, yeah. I love you, Friendly Paws, always bringing in that transformational piece, which is everything. It's everything. So be, do, and have. And I talk about this with my coaching clients as well. So who do you want to be, and who do you want to create yourself to be? And even our learnings with Conversations with God, it talks about that, and we talk about that a lot in that book study series. Your soul has come here for the process of evolving and creating itself. So here it is, here and now, with this tool of your relationship to money, abundance, and finances, for you to be and decide who you really are. You are an infinite being of light and power and perfection in this human experience. You are God in form. So of course, you have the power to be, to do, and to have whatever you choose. If you choose, I'm a victim, I can't do it, it's too hard, then you will create that. And you can have that. But I don't see you in that way. I'm not buying into that for you. I'm not buying into your stories of you playing small. Hi, Louise and Sarah. So another empowering statement is, I am going to do this. Like I said earlier, it's not about how to, it's about want to. And then it's about, if I want to, I'm going to. And then it's about, I'm starting now. So you've got to want the results badly enough to do this, to change everything. And what would it feel like? So let's think about that for a minute. For you to have the life of your dreams. How would it feel? Have all your debts wiped, paid off, done. How would it feel to be creating money and income in a way that's aligned with who you are and your purpose? To have your dream job, your dream career, your dream company. Yeah, to have your own home. To have the partner, to have fulfilled the creative endeavor. To have X amount in the bank, in savings, in investments. So that vision of whatever that is for you has got to be bigger. Has got to pull you forward through the fear, through the discomfort. To where it's not like, I hope I can buy a house one day. No. I'm going to. And it's already happening. So whatever your goal is, I invite you to write it down. And think about 1 year from today, it's May 20th in Bali. May 20th, 2025. And you're in your house and you have those assets, that money, that job. The clients, the business. How would that feel? And know that if you pick that one goal and that one thing, and you make that the priority of your life, there's nothing stopping you. If you truly want it and you commit to it, and then you list what are the actions it will take to get me there, and then you chunk it down into, okay, what does that mean tomorrow? What do I get to do? When you set a goal, it's what that does with your mind is it up levels your thinking. You're not thinking from this lower level, like say if it's about owning a house in a year. Maybe a small goal would be like moving to a better apartment, like whatever, right? And if that's your big goal, that's fine. I'm just giving kind of a difference so that you can see if you make your big goal moving into a different apartment, you're going to be on a certain mindset level. If you make your big goal I am going to, be walking into my new house that I own in a year from today, you're going to have a different way of thinking. Hi, Allison, J.E. Yes, J.E., there will be. Thank you for asking. So you must want the results badly enough to do the work. So do you want your vision badly enough to do the work? Or does it hurt too much not to? Pain pushes and vision pulls. Are you in enough pain where it hurts too much not to change, where your comfort zone is too painful, to where it's less painful for you to take very uncomfortable actions? So I want you to start reframing the way you see fear or discomfort. Fear is not an indicator of something to avoid. I mean, that's intrinsic within us, and we're reprogramming ourselves in this way. Fear means this is not something to avoid, but something to approach. So every time, if it's like, oh, I've got to go talk to this person, or offer my services, or break up with my girlfriend, or ask for a raise, or blah, 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 whatever. Or even if you're afraid to get a realtor or something, like, the fear is an indicator that that's something to approach, not something to avoid. So you must do what you dread. What do you dread? So we're going to start closing up. And what actions, like based on this conversation, are you willing to take? I'm going to give you a list of things. Because, as I said earlier, who you are up until now has created the results you have in your life. If you want different results, you're going to have to recreate who you are. And that starts with getting out of your comfort zone and doing the uncomfortable. Which means unfamiliar. Doing uncomfortable things is just doing something that's not familiar. Like for me in my drug addiction, it was not familiar for me to try and not drink, even though my body was screaming for alcohol. The familiar was just to drink every day and get high every time I felt like it. When I made a decision one day at a time to quit alcohol and drugs, I had to do something unfamiliar, which was not doing what I really, 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 really wanted to do in that moment. It was I went to AA meetings, I asked for help, I got a sponsor, I did what they said, all that stuff. That was all unfamiliar. So whatever it is for you, you get to do the unfamiliar. Maybe something you've never done before. Part of your, what will really assist you to change is getting support. You can't do this alone. You can't. You've got to have support. So if it's with me one-on-one, if it's me in my group program, there are 12-step meetings for this sort of thing. If it's some other group or some other person, you cannot do this alone. So part of some of you, your uncomfortable action may be to, go show up to that meeting or reach out to that support person or, apply to that group program or whatever. So you get to stretch. You get to stretch. So a stretch is, and this is what I want your homework to be, and I can support you in receiving what this is. If you want, to send me a message, this is what my stretch is, I will receive that. Because when you say something to somebody else, it's so much more powerful than you just thinking in your head. And especially, we talked about yesterday, how many times have we betrayed ourselves and say we're going to do stuff and never do it. And then we don't, and if you don't tell anybody and you just make these plans and you don't write them down and you don't say them, and then you break your word to yourself and then you feel like shit, and then the cycle perpetuates. So even just coming up with whatever this stretch is for you, and even being like, hey, Natalie, mine is I'm going to do this, or I'm going to whatever, that will help you reach it. So you want to, one of three things, do something unfamiliar. So like I just said, it might be going to a meetup group, going to a 12-step group, inquiring about my program, or if you like, other people have other things. I mean, we have no excuse to not get support and resources at this time in humanity, right? So it might be taking an action. Say. So the first one's do, the next one's say. Speak up and ask for what you want. This doesn't all have to be like directly money related, because it's all related. Speak up and ask for what you want. It might be you need to ask for, or you get to ask your boss for a raise. It might be you get to renegotiate, your vacation days and bonuses, or it might even be something in your office with your coworker where you've let them walk all over you about something and you're done doing that. You speak up for and ask for what you want. It might be in your relationship or a friendship. Because the root of all of this is low self-esteem and codependency. Every single thing we're talking about in this realm of money and finances and scarcity and lack and under-earning comes from low self-esteem and codependency. So we get to heal that, and that's the deepest healing. So we do the inner and the outer work to do that. So do something unfamiliar and uncomfortable. Say something. Speak up. Ask for what you want. And the last one, let go. Let go of. Let go of what's holding you back. This one can really hit deep. How many of you, when I say that, you're like, oh God, not that. No, I can't let go of that. That thing that you need to let go of. Hi, Dana. Awesome. You went to an AA meeting. Amazing. I mean, and even just, I don't know how often you've been, but yeah, I mean, can you imagine somebody in addiction that's like, oh my God, they're willing to go to a meeting. Wow, that's doing something unfamiliar and uncomfortable. So let go of what's holding you back. Who is holding you back in your life? What is holding you back? And Louise, I was going to say that. It might be a limiting belief or a mindset that you're done with, or believing the story that you can't. Or it might be a job. It might be as big as that. It might be a job. It might be a lease. It might be your car. Maybe some of you have, you're stuck in this, or you feel stuck in this you're leasing this super nice, expensive car, but it's like draining you, and you know, like you need to just get something cheaper, like letting go of something like that. So, Louise, you get to let go of all the hows. Yeah. And you can. Nobody is doing this to you but you. Which is, the good news and the bad news. But it's the good news because it's total freedom and total responsibility. So, Louise, when you talk about the hows, that goes, what I'm imagining you're talking about is going back to the how to versus the want to. If you want it enough, the hows you'll figure out. The hows are not the thing. So if your mind goes to, but I don't know how I'm going to do it, you need to go a step back and look at how much do you really want it. Because if somebody, so Steve Chandler, one of my favorite coaches, he has this talk called How To versus Want To, which is where I'm getting these distinctions. Louise, if you send me a message, I'm happy to share that with you and anyone else. It's a very powerful, 20-minute talk. But in there, he gives this example of, say, there's a group of people, and that this person is, they all want to lose weight. And so, there's this group, and there's this leader, and, this group of people that want to lose weight. They all might do it differently. Some might do keto or intermittent fasting or blah, blah, blah. Cleansing, juicing, whatever, right? There's many different hows in weight loss. So everyone in the class might have a different way they do it and how they will lose the weight. So let's say the group goal is, 20 pounds. They all have different ways of doing it, but they all want to lose 20 pounds. Now, how many of them will actually follow through? It doesn't matter about how they do it. It's about how bad they want to do it, and they'll figure it out. So then, and I might get this a bit wrong, but the next part of this analogy is, okay, say you're it's that same scenario, and the leader is like, I will give everybody here $1 million each if you lose 10 pounds by the end of 30 days. By the end of 30 days, everyone in this group, if you lose 10 pounds, each person individually, I will give you each $1 million, those of you who have lost 10 pounds in 30 days. Can you see how little the how-to matters? The people will figure out how. That's not important. If their want to is big enough, if their why is big enough, they'll figure it out. $1 million to lose 10 pounds in a month, that's easy, right? That's very doable. It's not about how. And they might do it and, have all different diets to do it. It doesn't matter. So on this money and finance journey to abundance, it's not, if you're stuck in the hows, then your want to isn't big enough. And you get to create, it might be whatever. If you want to be a millionaire, then go create that. That can be your goal. Yeah, it's a really powerful analogy that I reference often because it makes such a clear distinction, because we get stuck in, I don't know how I'm going to do it. Like even sometimes, you know, I'm a life coach and I work one-on-one with people, and we create agreements and programs to work together, and as many coaches do. And, you know, I've heard some coaches say, like, okay, say the program or whatever the coaching is, you know, $1,000, and the person's like, well, I don't have that. You know, sometimes coaches will help the person get clear by saying, you know, if your family member needed this emergency surgery tomorrow and you had to come up with $1,000, would you be able to do it? It's like suddenly it's like, oh, well, yeah, of course. So it's that same thing. It's not about the how, it's about the want to. Or if somebody's like holding a gun to your head and being like, you've got to come up with $1,000 like in the next 2 hours, or you will do it. And if not, I mean, you will do it to the very best of your ability. You will take all the actions. So yeah, whatever it takes. Hi, Tashana. Glad this is resonating. So, you know, the how-to, there can be many how-tos. So just like what I'm offering here with the remaining couple spots with my group coaching program around overcoming other under-earning and creating financial and life abundance, that is one how-to. If you resonate with me and with this information and want to reach out and we can talk about the possibility of you joining if it's a good fit, I will offer, depending on the response, and one more scholarship, a partial scholarship, depending on circumstances. So reach out if you want to be considered for that. So that's one how-to. One-on-one coaching with me is another how-to. Or plethoras of other people and resources and programs, and those are other how-tos. 12-step. There's Debtors Anonymous. There's Business Debtors Anonymous. Those are donation-based or /free. So once you make the decision of the want to, that's that personal internal commitment. Have you had enough? Why will you let yourself make what you want? Feel into that. Why will you let yourself make what you want, like money-wise? That puts all the onus back on you, which is where it belongs. Why will you let yourself make what you want? So, your homework, if you choose to accept it, is a stretch. Stretching outside of your comfort zone by doing something unfamiliar or uncomfortable, speaking up and asking for what you want, or letting go of something that's holding you back. And when I said earlier, you know, the requirement for change is the willingness to be uncomfortable, here it is. But you mean to do that? Yes. So remember, come from nothing, come from possibility, and have courage. You can do this. Awesome, Kiara. Oh, I hate it when I do that. I have this computer stand. So I'm going to draw one more card to close. And if you've joined in late, all the good stuff. If you care to follow me, donate, follow me here, everywhere, socials. I do have on my website a webpage about the Money Mindset program. I would invite you to reach out to me directly and we can connect about that. Here we go. It popped out. Inner voice. What is your inner voice telling you right now about all of this? And then we had this yesterday, flowering at the bottom. What does your inner voice, what does your inner being know about who you are? If you tuned into this voice, you know you're powerful. You know you can do this. You know it's within you. If there's any limiting belief voice or childhood programming voice, that's coming from the wounded child. But the wonder child is the one that is who you are. I've got this. There's my little wonder child. Y'all know that's very powerful practice to have you on your phone. So if you have any like really painful thoughts or old beliefs that are causing a lot of pain, like the reason why it's so painful is because it's not true. Underneath that is this. Look at the alignment. Look at the peace. Look at the abundance. And then here you are, flowering. And look what's underneath that. So these are both queens. The Queen of Wands, the Queen of Pentacles, the Queen of Money, and the Queen of Fire, sharing and flowering. So remember what I said. Think about the benefits to others when you up-level. Oprah is one of my favorite examples. You know, she came from horrible circumstances. She overcame herself. Look and look at how much she's loved to give when she had her show, and you know, and even, who is it? Drake, I think, or I'm sorry, I'm not so good with the pop culture nowadays, but I think it is, yeah. I think it's God's Plan by Drake, and he has that video on YouTube where he's going around like giving all of this money away. Like, it's so amazing. And not that you have to do it on this huge scale where you're seen. You may do that and that's fine, but you can be that in your own way in others' lives, giving from your overflow. Yeah, the wonder child. Wounded child or wonder child. So, thank you all for joining. I will see you again very soon. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This is your invitation if you're hearing this and if this is resonating. If not now, when? And it's all up to you. It's my time. It's time to make more money. Why will I let myself make what I want? Thank you, Stephanie. See you all soon. Much love from Bali. Bye-bye.